Okay, I think we're starting to stream now. I think it's on. Alright, well, this is the first game development live stream I've done, so we'll see if anybody ends up showing up for it. I don't expect a whole lot, but it's been a long time since I've done any kind of live stream stuff. I'm going to be working on my Godot game, setting up this spearman as a new enemy, so that's what we work on this evening. It'll probably be pretty quiet unless anybody drops in and asks any questions. Okay, so I need to get his spear hooked up as a weapon first. Let's see. Okay, so first thing to do is I gotta make a new class for it. Probably gonna be closest to make it closest to the skeleton weapons. It's an enemy weapon. Call it spearman. Spear. Now all my data is set up right now into C# classes, but eventually we'll move it all into either JSON or XML or someplace that can manage the data and modify it easier. So we got the spear model here. See if I can remember how I set these guys up. So it has no left model. And he's going to have to make an animation for his idle, which I think is basically how I set it up here, which is pretty close. So idle right, we'll set him up to be, can be pretty short. And I think sorting type front, arm, right-handed. Okay, those all look fine. Make sure it loops. I want to get all of my animations derived off of the hand and the arm, because the weapons obviously swap out. 90. Get it low. We'll have to copy these over. Okay. We usually do a little bit of bounce for his idle, and so we'll just modify it a little bit here. That's too high. And we'll get the curves. I think this is that's too much, I think. Too busy. It's okay, these idles can go really long without any problems because everything gets replaced in the animator. It's kind of weird looking though, because I think I need to change these. Now what's weird is the animation. Let's do idle. Play that looping animation. That's pretty close. Cool. Okay, so we've got that animation. We're going to save it in its own folder. So all of my animations are saved in the same spot for monsters. Spearman Spear. Okay, I'm just making sure the audio is actually playing on this thing. Cool. Okay, so we got the spear set up. Idle animation saved. I'm gonna go ahead and find it. Copy the path for our animation none right. This guy doesn't have any animations on the left, so we're not going to have any kind of attacks that are held and released, so we will be pretty simple. This guy's going to have a pretty straightforward set of attacks. So let's go ahead and make the next animation for him, which is going to be his first thrust attack. Duplicate this guy. Rename. Attack 1, strike 1, right. And okay, so most of the attacks in our game have a pretty big wind-up time. So this is going to have a wind-up of, I think, 0.3 and then a pretty quick strike time. So the wind-up here will get his X to be, let's actually drag it way back. So bring it back. He's going to hold it at that location for a tenth of a second or so, and then he'll do the forward thrust. Most of the attacks are about tenth of a second. And during that whole time there's hitbox projectiles sitting on top of them, on top of the weapon itself. I should probably move the muzzle of this weapon. So yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna hold the attack frame for a little longer. I'm not sure why that. Should copy this frame. I want to hold this frame. Okay, boom, and then we'll shrink the animation's total time down. And then, so every weapon, try to make this not loop. Every weapon has a trail on it, and what guides that trail to spawn is actually in the animation itself. This is swinging rule. So up until here, he's not swinging, and then at this point he is. So swing. You won't see it on here, but once you get it in game, you'll see that the swing effect will spawn a trail at the muzzle, which is this sweep trace. Let's get it further up. Closer to the end there. And the muzzle for where is actually the hitbox will spawn. We'll get that up there too. Although I suspect the hitbox on this thing is going to be pretty generous. It's going to go probably halfway down the spear. Okay. Alright, so I have an attack, I have a weapon and attack. Let me go ahead and save that strike. Save as this guy, experiment attack strike 1. Cool. Alright, now back to code. I've got to go ahead and get this. Add these guys to my enum list of everything. So all the weapons and attacks and stuff are all broken into these strikes that called spear that are serialized, or they're actually just turned into ints or U shorts or something like that when they get passed across the network and then run on the other side. So these enum names are very specific to what's going to happen on both clients. So I don't think I should use this skill action set for anything right now, but I do use these. I use the specific strike. So this is important to rename. Go to the definition. I've built a bunch of strikes already. I think I'm getting close to 100. If I end up going over 200, I'll have to switch them to use a U short, which means they could be more than I possibly need. Attack 1, strike 1. Cool. Now I've got this guy set up. Monster attack 1, skill pressed, he just plays, and then there's a second attack, which I am going to just delete for now. We'll just get the one running, and then we'll add more as we go. Doesn't aim with the hands on his attack. Cool, so the spear is set up. Now I gotta set up the actual monster information. Okay, so there's a million places where that goes. The first place would probably be in the game data. So, monsters have base stats, and I'll go ahead and add more of them to this list here. Add this new one, Spearman. And let's get the base value for the Spearman going. And then here is the resource path for his visuals, which is all of the characters are, all the creatures and things like that are cached, and for networking purposes and perf purposes, they just get assigned new information when they spawn in. And I'm going to find your sprite sheet. Now, ideally, these will get packed into a sprite sheet or an atlas sheet, whatever Godot's word for that is. Okay, so that created him where he will spawn now, and then we need to figure out where did I actually setting up where this guy gets his weapon from. Get base monster stats. I can find all the references. How does it know to hook him up with the right weapons? Let's take a look at the creature manager. That's where they spawn in. Actually, it's probably something in the creature data. So spawns a monster, sends the spawn monster. Get next creature and then activate. So somewhere in here. Set the monster data. Cool. Something in here. Here we go. So this will grab weapon set for the correct for the monster name. Oh, I apparently don't have the weapon set name added. Okay, and then from here, weapon set name is set. Stagger resistance, which is one of the base stats for these guys. We'll call him Spearman here. 3 is fine. And the next piece of this is getting him to spawn with the correct controller. So all of the monsters in the game have a monster controller, which is just a little AI that they run for sensing people and attacking with their abilities and all sorts of that kind of stuff. Let's see what we got. The closest one will probably be skeleton. Just clone the skeleton controller. And you can see it's just a behavior manager that has a tick rate, and a bunch of these nodes are used to define each of these actions. So right now he's got an idle action, which is fine. It's just a movement action. And then we've got this axe attack. So I'm going to change this to a spear attack. And so these all define the kind of inputs he'll use because it's just a simulated input system. And this all looks fine. Min range, max range. Probably can go a little further with max range because it is a spear. It should just run this. This is the only function to run. The idle action is the fallback action if there's nobody within range. So press and repeat. Input time, cooldown time, 2 seconds. That seems right. Now I gotta figure out how I add this controller to him. And I think that's done somewhere in the monster. So there is, when the monster gets his data set, it's activated, sets the data, and then gets a stagger resistance. It loads the controller somewhere through here. So here's the controller. And so they each got their own path here. And this probably should be cleaned up. This is kind of janky how many places I have to modify the monster to get it to run. Let's see, Spearman. Grab the controller. Copy the path. Okay, so now the controller's path will add, and the last thing that needs to be done for this is actually get the weapon to load on the monster, because the weapon has been defined, but there's actually another spot where weapon will load. It's called the weapon component. What that does is the weapon enum was assigned. I'm not even sure I used the monster weapon component. Yeah, this one isn't being used. It's going away. So in here, it will take the enum and find the correct class and instantiate the class for all the weapon information. Spearman Spear, and it'll make a new Spearman Spear class. Okay, and so the only thing left here is to actually go to the monster spawning. We'll look at spawn point manager will do that, I believe. I think this is a bunch of helper functions in here for spawning monsters. There's like spawn random monster. So, all right, so normally it'll spawn index 1 through 5, which is the existing monsters, but we actually have 6 monsters available now. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's go check them out. Whoop, hit something. Did not expect it to run the first time, so not super worried. Okay. So we've got attack strike is this monster attack, which is a skill action. Oh, wrong skill. Spearman attack 1, which is, that shouldn't be it though. That really shouldn't be the problem. Weapon component, Spearman spear. Monster attack 1 is a new skill action. Why is it not liking that? Oh, because the strike doesn't use. I didn't actually make the strike information, so it doesn't know what to use when it loads in a strike. So I have built another kind of static class for the skill data, the strike data at least. So strike data table. And so this is another thing that will be eventually converted into a some sort of JSON. But right now it's just a very long list of enums for each strike. Strike is like the most basic action you can take in the game over networking. So I will find like one that's really close. I guess skeleton attack 1 is actually pretty close. Let me just grab that guy. So what it does is it validates the strike being sent, and then it even validates the received character for the strike to make sure that he's holding the correct weapon to use the strike. So these names are very important and very explicit. So this guy's Spearman, Spear attack strike 1. So this is all, there's so many different pieces of information that go into making a strike. So I won't go into every single one of these things, but essentially there's a lot of information that goes into it. And let me go take a look at my animation to see these things line up. So we've got, he will start spawning his hit sweep at 400, because that's when it actually begins the strike. And do 15 damage, sure. Now the hit sweeps, these box parameter that I've got here will probably end up needing to be replaced with something a little thinner. I think that might be actually too wide. I can look and see if we got a 6x10. Maybe that's gonna be better. I'll turn it on, and we'll do 100 milliseconds. And it'll automatically find the muzzle on the right, which is the right weapon's muzzle. Aim lock start, so I want him to be able to turn a little bit while he's in the middle of it, because he's going to be rearing back. And then we're going to hit flash warning, which I think I'm going to start pretty early. That's going to flash him white. Aim sensitivity, and I don't really need aim sensitivity on this guy because it'll just be 100% perfect. I don't want to slow him down at all. Locks movement, so he can't move while he's attacking. Lifetime. Okay, so this means this is how much time he can take before the next attack can happen. And even though he won't be able to do it because his input system won't let him do that right now, but that is fine. So the last thing I do is what animation to play, and that is this guy. That is the spear attack. Let's go Spearman. Let's copy the path. And that is the one it should find and load it into the animation tree when he equips the weapon. And this last bit is the attack movement. So a lot of my monsters have a little bit of movement on them when they attack. A lot of my player character abilities do as well, where they just move forward, and there's a lunge animation that plays when they do that, which is kind of nice. There's a wind, and I have him doing the wind up animation, so you'll see him crouch when he's just prior to striking. Actually, I probably want to turn that off. Let me just turn that off. We'll see how it runs the first time. Hit another problem. Okay. Spearman attack strike 1. It's not about attack strike 1 only skill. Monster attack 1. Did it not return? Oh. All of them have a return strike, not break. It's just returning null. Oh, we get a little further. Okay, we've got a scene loader issue. Interesting. It's trying to run something it can't find is what I think is happening. Weapon, spearman, spear. Interesting. I don't know what is causing that. 86 means the pack scene is not. Okay. Maybe it's... Seems like I set something up incorrectly on here, and I don't know what piece. I mean, that shouldn't matter anymore. That's actually already set up. Let's run it in Visual Studio. Okay, see what's going on. So we've got a resource, Spearman Spear. Oh, it's because it's an invalid resource. I need to load the Spearman Spear model. That is what's happening. I was loading the image instead, which is clearly not what I need to do there. All right, give it another shot. Okay, you've got a dude, he's got a spear, and he appears to be pretty mean about it. Let's see if he can... Come on, buddy. You got this. I wonder if I've set up... He got one attack off. I might have set something up to have this cost... Ooh. Way off. Way off, buddy. Interesting. Well, we'll figure it out. That's the gist of his normal setup. He's picking random spots, but you know, he's got a controller here, and I can definitely mess with this controller and make sure it works. Okay, so he's got an encircle move and a direct move. And that encircle move that you're seeing where he runs around him. Use range min, so his use range is perfectly fine. Strike, stop, activation range, so that's when he stops if he's close enough to you. That's if he loses a target for he'll use a different strike. Oh, because there is actually a set of triggering strikes. So my game has combos for monsters, and if this isn't set up properly, which I've seen a couple times where I'll change the order of enums and then Godot will do something stupid, but they need to know what strike they just used, because then they can use a combo of strikes, like 3 or 4 at a time, and then when that final one happens, they can repeat the process. So what they have to do is to listen for the strike that was just used, and it'll cycle to the next one. Which, for the most part, is kind of hacky, and I'm going to fix that at some point. But I suspect that's what's happening. He's having some weirdness with the invalid strikes, but only one way to find out. Let's see. Yep, now he's behaving a lot better. He'll give me a poke every 2 seconds. And I can hit him back, send him flying backwards. Oh, looks like his animation isn't quite right. His death animation worked. It looks like his hit back animation flickers. Alright, now I got a bunch of... Ooh, that was weird. Yeah, so whatever animation I'm using for their push is not working for that frame. Does look like the hitbox is off. I'm gonna have to go check the hitboxes. But for now, that's basically one new mob in. It's really basic, but I'm gonna tweak it a little bit and get some comboed attacks, maybe some charging attacks, maybe some twirling, to make them a little more interesting to fight. So first I want to actually check. Let's see, I want to check the Spearman spear model, and there's the muzzle. And I want to go ahead and just grab... do we have hitboxes still sitting in here? I think I deleted all the hitboxes, so I will add a... let's do shape. Sure. And then make a shape, make it a box. We're just going to have to match the box that... So extents of 8 and 10, or 6 and 10 is what it looked like. And that is a little further out from the spear tip than I would expect. So I'm going to move its muzzle back. It is still wide too. I kind of want to shrink it. Let's see if do I have any shapes that are shorter than that? So what about, do we have any 4s? No. Darn it. 6 is as narrow as it gets. And I could have sworn the guy was attacking earlier. Let's just see what it looks like with the shapes on. Oh, I can't turn them on, can I? With, yeah, visible collision shapes. Well, it is pretty ugly to look at. Probably gonna be harder to read. He is a little too far away, right? When he stops. That's 30. Let's see. So he will actually stab and miss if given the opportunity. Why is he spawned with his collider in the wrong direction? That is bizarre. That might just be something. Okay, I'm gonna figure out why his collider's all messed up like that. See, that's weird. That foot collider should not rotate. Why did it rotate? Let's go take a look at it's got a script on it. I'm also not sure why it's set up like that. Let's take a look. There's nothing in here that should change rotation. Let's see. 9 degrees. Yeah, I don't know. Should be 90. Why did it bounce like that? That's kind of weird. And Godot isn't known to just rotate boxes like that. That being told. I wonder if it's with the spawning. Spawning in the corner here. Yeah, it did something weird. It's like facing his origin. Let's see if I can get any other ones to spawn with weird. Oh, they're all roughly the same. But they're I don't think they're all equally in the same direction though. But they're not turning. Yeah, I don't know. That is funky. It doesn't seem to matter where the collider is. Does Monster have its own? Yeah, it does. Yeah, it looks like this one looks angled. Just looking at it. But it's not. very weird. There's no physics on it, so it's not doing anything. Like the kinematic body doesn't really use it. I mean, in theory, that is the correct shape it will be using, but the body itself doesn't rotate. Yeah, weird. I have no idea. Gonna have to dig into that probably at some point, but definitely later. Not a huge issue right now. Yeah, they're all coming in at a funky angle. Maybe it's because of the rotation. Maybe it's gotta be global. Just not sure why it would be and not already global. Because in theory, the character class comes in at 0 rotation too. Yeah, not it. Don't know. Let me do one more check. Of course it crapped out of me. Okay. Global rotation. Oh, because global rotation is not in degrees. It's in pi. So I forget that conversion. Let's go to my helper class for that. Okay. Here I convert byte to a rotation, which all I need to do here is convert a degrees to rotation. There's probably a better way. But I can always come back and redo it. Yep, he's flat enough. Cool. And I will go ahead and turn this guy off. Okay, so one thing I noticed is the creature's attacks. We want to give this guy, instead of just one attack, we'll give him like a combo of strikes with one and then a long charge and a big stab. So let's go ahead and make this thing into a triple strike here. And I really like how he did it with the other abilities, where I added these brackets to them to make it easier to read. Maybe I'll just do that for all of these. So first thing I got to do is make sure that this thing can contain 3 strikes. I'm going to go ahead and make all this thing the same name. Okay. And I really don't need to do that here because that's in the data table. Okay, strike 2, we're gonna make a new one. We're gonna make 3 of these guys. And then I'm gonna do 3 little quick jabs, and then we're gonna do one that's a long charge. And should be 1 strike or more than 1 strike, because he could get interrupted, but it doesn't matter if he gets interrupted, it's fine. Okay, so now we've got these 3 strikes, and I need to go ahead and add them to here. Strike 2. Strike 3. Okay, each one of these is set up there. Now I need to go ahead and add them to the data table. Okay, so I think this first one is actually not so bad with its initial strikes, or with the initial delay time. I'm going to go ahead and make the next 2 of them significantly faster than the first. But I want to slow the first down a little bit. So let's go ahead and say... Should we push to... Let's push it to 0.6 seconds. And she's gonna add 2 more to here, and then we're gonna go 1/4 second there. That'll bring this guy to a full second. Okay, so that's the first strike. It's this, and then the second one is gonna be faster. So we got the, well, I like these timings are fine. And then the third one, we'll do the same timings. So it's 3 attacks that use the same press. And we do need to make a new animation for this one. Or we need to modify this one. We're going to make new animations for these ones. So I think we're going to have... And this one's going to be a significant downtime. And so each of these guys have combos, and we need a combo time to allow them to combo off each other, or else they'll never combo with using the input system. Okay, monster 1, strike 1, monster 2, monster 1, strike 2, monster 1, strike 3. And this is what the animation tree will read for figuring out where to place each one of these animations based on the strike being used and where to play them from. Yeah, we should probably make it 1/4 second at least. And then this guy's and let's go ahead and, while we're here, add them to the creature, his controller. Spear, let's call this stabs. We'll add a couple more things. Got to build to get the new enums. Okay, so now he will repeat these attacks and keep pressing. Just do it like every 0.5 seconds until he gets through the array, and then he'll go on cooldown. And we should probably reduce this because he wasn't able to hit me. Okay, so now I've got 3 attacks. I bet this will run, even though it's going to run kind of a funky set of animations that will look kind of weird. But it will, he should attack 3 times in a row. And then go on cooldown for 2 seconds, then he'll go back to it. So what I want to do, I think we want to make him stab pretty rapidly, but also kind of maybe stab not just straight, but also kind of in a fanned out pattern. I'm gonna clean up his sprite for when he gets hit, because that is gonna annoy me. But I don't know exactly which animation that is. Let me take a look at somebody like the Necromancer. Okay. So I thought could have sworn it was right there. Spearman sprite sheet. Yeah, I would have thought it would be this one. If it's not that one, what is it? Guess I'll find out. Let's go into the creature visuals. Is he running stunned? Is that what's being run? It might be. He might be running the stunned hit instead of the, it's called pushed, I believe. He might be running stunned instead of pushed. Okay. It's entirely possible. But not great. Not great. So I'm going to go ahead and grab... Let's go ahead and grab these pushed and place it over to here where the stunned guy... looks about right. One over. And to differentiate, we will do closed eyes, and we'll get rid of some of the feet. There, now he looks sadder. Here we go. Okay, and save this guy as my spearman. Okay. must have not saved. Or I put him in the wrong spot. There. I should probably have the pushed be higher priority than the stunned in terms of the animation stack, because that was kind of weird that it would not do the pushed animation first, because a lot of these push events are in conjunction with the stun event, because you can't attack when you're being interrupted like that. Boom. Yep, it's definitely playing the stunned animation. Let's see if I can get a grab this. Great. See if the pull animations are set up. Their swing times are very long. But yeah, that's because the animation's all screwed up. But they're doing pretty good. There must be a guy attacking the wall. Yep. On the side. That's just a visibility thing I gotta fix. Okay. So I'm gonna go back to these spear animations. Let's stand this guy back up so it doesn't look so funky. Okay. What I'm going to want to do with this is probably clone it to match the strike data. So we're going to start with a doesn't start attacking. Let me go ahead and duplicate this guy. Rename him. This will be strike 2 right. And then we'll duplicate again. And rename to strike 3 right. All right. Now let's go back to strike 1. So this guy's going to get extended out to at least a second because that strike lasts all that time. We've got, well, I can combo over at a second. But what I want to do is I want to get this to be pushed back to 600 milliseconds. That way he will wind up for a little longer. It'll flash at 350, which seems a little short. I'm gonna go ahead and push his animation back to 350. So he'll hold and freeze and then flash, attack. Cool, that one makes sense. Save. And the next one, strike 2. This one's gonna be already pretty fast. Let's see, does he return the spear after the end of this one? No, he does not. We should do that. We should get his first frame. That doesn't make any sense. Boom. It should be this key, duplicate, and it should bring it back. So, boom, back, and then next one, we're gonna go with this one is almost identical. We wanna basically just do the regular attack. I do wanna change the position of the spear. I think that's gonna look better than changing the rotation of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna move it down. Okay, move this guy, and then I will duplicate. All right, boom, lower. And then the third one we're gonna do higher. So that's the correct lifetime. Exact same timing on the warning flash. Although I don't think we need warning on these guys because the strike has already begun. We're not gonna warn every single strike. We'll see how that looks. And then the last one is another attack. With a longer lifetime. And I'm going to take this one, and where it's positioned at the end, I'm going to go ahead and modify that. We're going to go and raise it. Boom. Okay, boom. And then let's take a look. So we'll see what these all look like together. And 400, 400. Let's look back at this guy. Yeah, I mean, I almost want this one to go further out. But I suspect that he's going to push every time he hits. So we actually want that third attack to be further. Okay, so we have all three of these. We just need to save each one of them because we want to make sure when we end up clearing these out of this animation tree, we'll have their resources. Spearman Spear Attack 2. We want Spearman Spear Attack 3. All right, let's take a look. I think his move timing is off. You can see how he moves just barely. Kind of clippy too. Like his move duration is very short. I think his pace is okay. Probably needs a little more fine tuning. Okay, so it's probably because let's up his attack move, make him move further and faster. I think the third one goes even further. Now, what's weird is the hit sweeps are the traces are a little funky. You can see all the traces on all these things are actually, these ones look pretty good, but his tend to rub into each other because he's stabbing. And he looks like he's keeping the sweep trace on him way after his attack. It's something weird that he just totally whiffed on that last one. Yeah, something weird going on with his mid sweep. Okay, so let's see. Because his hit sweep is 0.4. That is correct. I want to do this though. I want to truncate that. Probably because this doesn't actually toggle off until I do it myself. Lame. Okay, let's see. This goes up to 0.6. 0.6 is 100 milliseconds. Oh, I'm not using the right animations for any of these, alright. That's probably a problem. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, there we go. That looks great. Okay, that is some serious... Yep, that guy's great now. Okay. I think that's good enough for... you know, I'm going to try that wind-up animation thing because you can really see the character in that wind-up animation when he's about to strike. So I'm going to go ahead and try that with his first attack only, because that will let him... I hope it doesn't last as long as the full duration, though. That's the only thing I'm worried about. I don't want it to last the full second. I probably will need to fix that at some point and give it a millisecond range. Yeah, see where he just does that wind up. Boom. Yeah. Yeah, we added all of them. Let's see what it looks like. It might look fine. I'm going to turn that warning flash on too for all of them. That's what I left the last one on anyway. These guys actually might be pretty dangerous. Got a really long reach on them. I think the that first strike will need a little longer of a warning. Because I'm usually doing like almost a full second warning on the skeleton. Let's go do that. That is probably necessary. And once they get into the combo, I think it's fine. But I think for the first strike, we'll need a little more time. 200 more milliseconds. I'll do it. And we'll give him the warning roughly where it was at. Box starts here. Dash effect starts here. Lifetime. Let's get the warning a little further in. Okay, yeah, I like that much better. Gives him a little bit more readability time. Gives me enough time to hit him before he hits me. Okay. Now I want a long dash ability. And so this one, he already has a pretty long dash with these 3 strikes, so maybe it'll be something better to do if we don't dash. We do some sort of swing rotational attack. Yeah, let's do something like a swing. Although he's really much better at distance. And he's got a pretty long reach. You know, it's getting late. I might as well call it now and think about that. But, yeah, I think it was pretty good for the first try, and hopefully we get some people. This is mostly just for me, making sure I get some work done. But if anyone has any questions, just feel free to reach out, and I'll talk to you guys next time.